Watch Will. Call to duty, from call up to homecoming.
We all remember these images from just 3 months ago.
Oregon welcoming home 2,700 National Guard soldiers from a year-long deployment in Iraq. But getting to that moment was more than a year in the making. Welcome to Newswatch 12's half-hour special, Call to Duty, from Call Up to Homecoming. Good evening, I'm Ashley Hall.
And I'm Brian Morton. Newswatch 12 has covered the Guard in its most recent deployment since it first received word of its orders. The deployment affected thousands of people across the state and right here in Southern Oregon. And Newswatch 12's Tove Tupper joins us now with a special look back at the soldiers' journey.
Well, these soldiers did not just pack their bags and head to the Middle East. They went through intensive training, planned and prepared for months, spent hours on the road while in Iraq, fighting through enemy engagements and working diligently to complete their mission. Tonight, we take a look back at all that hard work, how they stayed connected to their families while abroad, and how they're doing now. The Oregon National Guard received word of its deployment in Iraq in the fall of 2008, and it was the largest deployment in Oregon since World War II, with 2,700 citizen soldiers set to head overseas. And the first step in completing their mission was preparing for their mission. After training 1 week and a month and 2 weeks a year, the Guard headed to Camp Roberts in California in April of 2009. The troops were there for a month, practicing an array of tactics and skills and new equipment. The Oregon National Guard geared up for its Iraq deployment at Camp Roberts in California. It's a training facility for the military, and with 43,000 acres, the Guard had a lot of space to prep.
I am excited.
This will be the first combat deployment for Sergeant John Davis of Grants Pass. He joined the Guard almost 8 years ago.
I'm just looking forward to putting all my training to use.
While at Camp Roberts, John and his fellow soldiers focus primarily on individual skill sets like weapon systems.
Being infantry weapons training is really quite important.
The Guard has already practiced on smaller weapon systems while at home, but not all of the weapons can be practiced in Oregon.
Some of our machine guns can shoot very far, miles and miles and miles.
While at Camp Roberts, troops also practice urban operation tactics, or the steps it takes to secure rooms and buildings. Combatis, or combat hand-to-hand techniques, and a Humvee simulator, where soldiers feel what it's like for their vehicle to roll over. Back at home in Grants Pass, Sergeant John Davis works for Southern Oregon Sanitation. And on one of his last rides through his route before heading to Iraq, he mentally prepares for the next year.
We've got a lot going on while we're overseas.
National Guard soldiers are part-time soldiers. They lead civilian lives like Sergeant Davis. So Camp Roberts also helps the troops adjust to deployment.
We are professionals. We go to many of the same schools the active duty soldiers do. We know our jobs, but again, you need to brush up on those skills. You need to become more familiar with them and do every last thing we can.
This mentality, this dedication is what will help these men and women succeed safely overseas.
I think everybody in the community should be very proud of us, and we're doing it for you.
But having support from home also helps these soldiers focus better on zeroing in on their skills and fulfilling their mission. During Southern Oregon's deployment ceremony, more than 600 soldiers received a standing ovation.
These soldiers are the best, and I've just been very, very impressed with all of them.
After the ceremony, like today, I'm just feeling kind of pumped. I'm ready to get going.
Attention! The ceremony symbolizes the soldiers leaving the state National Guard status and becoming federal active service soldiers.
All of our soldiers are citizen soldiers. They're not only soldiers, but they're members of their community, and it's always nice to have a stand-up event.
And after the ceremony, the soldiers gave their final farewell to Oregon. For family and friends, these Guard members are more than just soldiers.
Well, he's my best friend, my husband, and the father of my children, so it's really hard to say goodbye.
And in the end, time is the enemy for both soldier and family.
It's going to be tough, but we're going to make it go quick, hopefully, while we're over there.
Get myself busy and move on and wait till he comes back.
After leaving Southern Oregon, the soldiers flew to Fort Stewart in Georgia for team-based training for about a month. From there, the soldiers headed to Iraq.